This is a video on making handles, and what I'm doing now is taking a ball of clay and rolling it out into a carrot shape. And then I pat it down a little bit to flatten it out, and then I cut off the piece and set it aside. And I like to do about 4 of these, and after I get them cut out, I'm going to attach them to the mugs. So there we go, that's 3. And just roll them out, make a carrot shape. This is really pretty fast. This is my preferred way of making handles. Pat it flat, cut it off. You can see it's not all that long, but when I pull it, it's going to get longer. Okay, now the next thing I do is I take each of those little segments, put a little slip on it, and I more or less screw it onto the pot. I wiggle it like I'm wiggling back and forth, pressing in the corners and securing it. And I do that with all 4 of these, and you'll notice that they kind of stick off the pot. They're not soggy because I haven't really wet them yet. Okay, so I get 4 of these done, and while I'm doing this, the slip is moistening the clay is drying the slip, and basically the handles meld onto the pot. Notice how I rotate that and stick it on really good. See, I'm smoothing the edges. That's how I do it. That's my 4. Now I start to pull. So I get that handle nice and wet, and I thin it and lengthen it. You can see the technique that I'm using. And I'm letting gravity pull that down as I work the handle. Okay, so it's just about long enough. Now, this is the final pull. I set it on the table, and I'm kind of tucking the edges in. Now, this one is with my thumb. I hold the pot steady, and I pull up and out and down and shape the whole handle and stick it right on. And it doesn't need any slip on the bottom because there's plenty of slip on the handle from when I pulled it. So that's it. There we go. This is extremely fast. I like this method a lot because the handle is stiff and it stays where I put it. You can see it's not wiggling or slumping. And I can just set it aside. And here's another one. And you notice I'm rotating around and seaming that on. Now I start to pull. And see the one over there on the wear board, how the handle's just sticking right off of it. It's nice and firm. There we go. Taper the outside. This is the final pull with my thumb up the middle. And notice how I lifted when I did that. And then I tuck it under, stick it on. I want to clean my hands off a little bit so when I pick up the pot I don't get wet clay all over it. Stick it on. There's an important step here where I get some of the memory out of it, and that's it right there, where I just bend it a little bit to relax the tension in the clay. Otherwise it might pull off the pot down at the bottom. And I'm working on my join. I'm going to slow this down so you can see me do this one more time where I get the tension out of the clay. I'm nipping off the bottom. Then I put my finger on the back part of the handle and just rock it a tiny bit. And that just gets some of the tension, some of the memory out of it so that it is not inclined to spring and straighten out and pull off the bottom of the pot. There it is again. See, just a little stroke, and that keeps it from pulling off. It's a very important step. Now I'm adding a little doodad to each handle, and you can see I take a tiny little ball of clay, roll it up in my palm, and stick it on. I'm going to do this again in slow motion so you can see what I did more clearly. So I'm rolling a little ball of clay in my palm, and then I smush it with my thumb, like so. And then I take it off my palm, and I put it on the handle, and smush it onto the handle, like so. And clean it up a little bit. And that's it. Okay, so don't forget to ring the bell, like the video, and subscribe. Yeah. These are bone dry now, and I want you to get a good look at how these turned out. I like to have the edges tapered in and an indentation here. There's a little doodad. You'll notice here how much clearance I have. My fingers are not touching the mug, so they're not going to get burned. And here's another one. You see that taper there and the V groove down the middle. That's the profile. Okay. Here's another one. So they're all pretty consistent. This one sticks out a bit more. And when the handle sticks far out, then the leverage is awkward and the mug feels heavy and it tends to pull down. So I like to have these fairly close, but this is going to get tighter when it shrinks in the firing. There's another one, and this one is on the close side. But it's still pretty comfortable. And this finger under here is pushing up, so I don't have a sense of this thing, gonna slide down. These are some pieces I made the other day. So this is attached right up on top. Here's a one finger handle, which is probably a little bit tight. And what else do we have here? Here's one that's attached a little lower and straighter, and I don't really like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This one's pretty good. I like that. Okay, so that's a review of some handles. And what else do we have that I can show you? Here's some T-balls. Whoops. These are best. This is squared off. Nice foot for elevation. I like that one. This is a little you-know-me that I paddled the bottom of and squared the top of. I kind of like this one too. I squared most of these. When I square them, I like to drink out of the corners. That's all till next time. See you later.